It's been 48 hours since the Iowa game. I've had time to digest, to think, to hope, to lose hope, to give up, to start again, to burn the whole thing down, to build it back up. That's what I've been doing the last 48 hours. I have not rewatched the game. Not doing that. No thank you. Hard pass for me, dog. I want to talk about how much of a big, fat, giant bummer that game was. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'm Lucy. I talk about college football as much as I possibly can. And I'm an Iowa fan, so this is like a especially deep, raw, sad reaction that you should subscribe, like, comment, share, because I'm being emotionally vulnerable on the internet, and that's a brave thing to do, and I should be rewarded for that. Quick recap on the game. If you did not watch it, Iowa won. If you didn't watch it, we did. Don't look it up. It was such a repeat of the Indiana game and the Iowa State game. It was just the most Iowa game I've ever seen. I want to take a minute to briefly be positive before I revert back to deep, dark, nasty negativity, and just sort of acknowledge that the Mark Gronowski, pickup in the transfer portal, plus the adjustment from Tim Lester has really completely changed Iowa football, because a year ago, 2 years ago, if Iowa was playing any team ranked in the top 25, they were losing by 30. Now they're only losing by a couple points, which hurts just as much, if not more. But there has been a big increase, especially when you look, I'm going to look more at the Oregon game specifically rather than Indiana and Iowa State, of the level of talent is very different between those two teams. They have very different budgets. For Iowa to compete with them the way they did is really just a testament to Iowa football, Kirk Ferentz, the culture of that program. But that's enough of the positivity. Let's go back to being a sad football fan today. Saw two stats this weekend that I want to address. The first one is that Iowa is 10 points away from being 9-0. That's tough. I saw another stat that Iowa is like 500 in one-score games since like the early 2000s. Ooh, hated that. Hated that. The third one, which is that in all three of Iowa's losses, with 2 minutes left in the game, Iowa had the lead, and they lost all of those games. Obviously, that's incredibly frustrating and sad and devastating as a fan, and I think we're going to look back on this year of Iowa football with the most, man, if one thing had gone our way type of attitude. Iowa, I do think, is a playoff caliber team, and that's just not something that's going to happen because of those losses. And I think what is so alarming about those losses, and not alarming might not be the right word, but what is so eye-opening, eyebrow-raising, whatever, eye metaphor you want there, is that those losses all came down to the defense getting whipped on a 2-minute drill. It's kind of jarring for that to be the issue, and I think it's something we have to address, because a lot of people want to be like, well, Iowa this, Iowa offense this, blah, blah, blah. And obviously there was a big special teams error in this game, but I kind of want to talk about how sort of the defense has fallen apart in the last 2 minutes of the game so many times this season. And I think that's sort of the example of, like, hey, there is only so much that coaching and a program and a culture can do, because if you don't have athletes the way that Oregon has athletes, you're going to get whipped in that 2-minute drill, and that's what happened. The defense got run over this game, which was something that you don't really see a ton. It was wild to sort of see the defense be Iowa's downfall in this one. And Dan Lanning came in with a good game plan, that the one running back who only had 70 yards coming into this game and then had 1 million against Iowa, Whittington, good job for him. Happy for him. Yeah, it was just like, it was a weird sort of like Twilight Zone, where, like, what do you mean Iowa drove 93 yards down the field to take the lead, and the defense is what collapsed? Like, even Mark Gronowski said in his post-game presser, like, I thought we had won at that point because I assumed the defense would get a stop. Talk about how to turn tables, This is not even like a solution-minded video. It's not even like a grand takeaway. This is what Iowa needs to do. These are the changes Iowa needs to make. It's more of just like, wow, look at that. Look at that. Just me sort of complaining. It doesn't feel like the season's over, but the aspirations of making it to a college football playoff, which were finally in reach, and they haven't been in reach in a very long time, were over just like that. They were over in the span of literally 2 minutes. There is a solution to this problem. It's just more money. You got to pay guys. And I just don't know how Iowa competes with that. It was a very, this is where we are. And I think we're going to look back on this season of a very sad, what had been, because Iowa is better than Iowa State. They should have beat them. If Mark Gronowski had not gotten hurt against Indiana, I think that game could have gone different. But once again, the defense gave up that big drive from Indiana at the end that cost them the game. And once again with Oregon, defense gave up a big drive at the end of the game, plus a special teams error that cost Iowa off the jump. I mean, second series of the game for Iowa, you're giving Oregon 2 points. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to get the safeties, not give them away. This was sort of a eye-opening game in how far can Iowa go with the budget they have, and I think this may be the peak of that. And this game against USC just feels like it just sort of lost, just sort of took the air out of it. Which it would be huge because Iowa hasn't had a ranked win in a long time. I think I was a senior in college last time Iowa had a ranked win. Getting that against USC would be really just great to have that, but what does it mean at the end? Did that Oregon loss take all the the air out of the tires for Iowa? It may have. I don't know. I feel like I've had all the air taken out of my lungs. Can barely breathe, and I'm not on the team now. Despite my stats and my tape, they didn't want me. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the Hawks. I'm going to make a video about not sad stuff next, so if you want to see that, like, subscribe, comment, share, whatever. I don't know. Live your life the way you want. Don't like just because I told you to do it. Like it because you mean it.